that all the political opponents do not have to always succumb to the communication tactics of the NPP, particularly in matters such as the Agyapade and the ambulance saga involving the president's daughter. All the political opponents must stick to these two subject matters. Just as we got stuck on the bus of the SNET and finally brought some rest or respite to the matter. I am.
All right, I'm movie bia kwaba na me from Mega TV and platform so. Now trim and the presidential aspirant for the political parties in various political parties no mutimiko submit your nomination file at the command the electoral commission no. I think the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia de Diako, Sansona John Domani Muhammad de Diako. And draw Alan Kyeremanten, yes, on all year, the Alliance for Revolutionary Change and the founder of Movement for Change. Ray Sadon Hine Audi anymore, you were Alan Kyeremanten. Or no, NOD anymore, and draw of our Selkonya so, and a Oyi, the running mate, Yura Kwame Danso. What you say, Kwame Danso, Elijah Danso. Na already adechi anopayo wako Pan Africa TV wako tutubia mumane NPP4 especially the Agyapade documenta yaka ho asema nkofo yebeka beka kra mo si enye no kware nkofo bi no fabricated story gabi asoche da kon de osi Ghana for ya yebeka sane adwen yenhwehwe ya adwen mu empo president Akufo-Addo so say eye fabricated document what you say sanso na oche hene so say eye a fiction. It doesn't exist. A yankofobinum Boslim can omutrim pobi a mayo madwinse on begu NPP abane at ochimai any ochi ahimfi ehun fi eno mwacha so moyesa owura Kwame Danso wakansem na utimu so no so were ready for Alan Kyeremanten the running meeting no amizo owura we don sheda nye popular because mega me amiti emi sheda nim no yes me sheda enim no papa. But anyway, that is not about that. The competency, and the competency, how we bet me yeduma, how we bet me submissive. Uncle is in a po, uncle is in a po, and Yanko Ponda. Krungapa, dear, Napo, into Uncle Cage and a one real Uncle Cage, Napo, real Uncle Cage, Napo Uncle Cage. Wanko Sunday school adia ye nkwara yesua basics we basics one so basis ye beka basis nkwada we ya akwada unim krado unim se nyankopon onda de bie nyankopon ye adwuma anase de bie nyankopon etiase ontonko na wo na even komo de abonnwom can promise one onchia kwa we na onchi nyansa ye onyame bia ontonko na o no onini mi CCTV de bia nani wo misuo enti na po nim sa anwon na mesra na poko campaign to amomo sa anwon no mana wa no obo so obo be send yourself politicians we po mo power de mutimi jimi o sabi mutimi jimi papa sembe o meka bia na dwon mo ntiase on especially the po de wayama na broso yankopon da enti oda I don't know oda Asia oda Africa North America hifa and a continent ben Australia continent ben na yankopon da also napo onunko bit me question yano. All right, so that is it inti napo de odinechia this person can never be vice president, and it is of course he can never be vice president of this country. Inti don't let it bombard in your head oh yeah beto abama na pamo no mama ni nche wadwi. Just put it out because Bawumia is a loser, and I'm saying it again. Bawumia will lose this election woefully. And the political career of both Bawumia and Nepo will be seized, will be ended. That is it. You can't crash, you can't go for being here, but that is the sad truth. That is the sad truth. Nepo political career and Bawumia, it will end this year. it will end because they are going to lose and they are going to take NPP to opposition and they will suffer before NPP they will come to power because of what they have created, the messes these people they have created in this country. Kufa Demin can as already no only political career because of free opportunity the mansion na wasi no okotena honom ene Agyapade book no wakohwehwem because embom they say obedan ne daily graphic obe reading ma enye adwuma because NPP is going to opposition. NPP is going to opposition. Definitely they are going to opposition. Nyankopon shira yenkotie yewura Kwame Danso. What you say yewura Kwame Danso sema odi atudwa bra the first show Pan Africa TV after say yewura ye alankwajo Kyeremanten o nominate anase o nimi no as his running mate yenkotie nsani be from na Nyankopon yokese.
That all the political opponents do not have to always succumb to the communication tactics of the NPP, particularly in matters such as the Agyapade and the ambulance saga involving the president's daughter. All the political opponents must stick to these two subject matters. Just as we got stuck on the bus of the snake and finally brought some respite to the matter. I am for Agyapade. I love Agyapade. I love properties. By the way, people who do not understand Agyapade, the meaning of Agyapade is properties. And Ohima, I've heard this argument being advanced. The argument has been advanced by first Gabi Ochredako, Gabi Asare Ochredako. For those of you who do not know Gabi Asare Ochredako is a prominent member of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a leading member of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's NPP, and someone who was very instrumental in campaigning for the NPP, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's NPP, prior to the 2016 elections. So Gabi Asare Ochredako is very important and a key member of this administration. Another person who has responded to this is the Ochehene Osajefo Amwetia Oforipenyi, I think the third or the fourth. And finally, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Showboy Akufo-Addo. So these three people have responded to it. Now, is it a book that exists? Is it a book that was written by political opponents? Is it a book that doesn't exist at all? These are, I think, three fundamental questions that every interested party will be asking this morning, or has been asking at the very inception of the knowledge that the book was in circulation. The first time I got to hear of this book was in 2019, and the first copy that I was given to me on this show. In fact, it had nothing to do with the discussions that we were engaged in, but somehow one of the viewers just forwarded a first copy, which was a copy that appears to be one that was taken with a phone. And so you could see that the person was in a rush. So the person just took, and you can see there were some papers there. So it captures the book and it captures some papers that were on the table as well. And that first document captured the plan. Okay, the plan. And when I say the plan is simply, so for instance, if you are a project manager, and you want to execute a project, you have pre-planning, and then you have the planning itself, and you have the post-planning. So the pre-planning activity is what was captured in the first copy of the book that I got the opportunity to see. Now, what was contained in that document? What I do recall was contained in the first document was a plan that was hatched to collapse specific companies belonging to political opponents, to collapse specific media houses belonging to political opponents, and to specifically control certain specific levers of the economy. Certain specific levers of the economy. Levers, L-E-V-E-R-S, levers of the economy. I do recall that when this first copy came out, a lot of people rubbished it, made nonsense of it. And indeed, because the author of the book in the beginning was unknown. In fact, the person who was even circulated it was unknown. Okay, so people rubbished it as though it was just one of these, books which are in circulation. People didn't really place prominence and premium on that particular document until we began seeing specific things being done, i.e. the closure. In fact, Pakwesi Indom is on record to have come out to rubbish the first document that came out. Pakwesi Indom himself. And then later, his companies now became a subject matter of attack, and then realized that, wait a minute, it appears that there's some truth to this document. All right? So what happened? Let's take the banking sector. Check the records. Check the records. See all the banks that were collapsed under the Nadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo's watch, and the justification for the closure of those banks, and whether those justifications were grounded in logic. Check. UT Bank. There was no justification until today. I will stand by my argument, okay, that there was and is no justification for the closure of UT Bank. There was no justification for the closure of Heritage Bank. What was the justification for the closure of Heritage Bank? The explanation given to us was that the gentleman, Seydou Abongo, was in court, and therefore his bank should be closed down. The justification for the closure of GN banks and some of the other banks was that they were unable to pay depositors their monies. Okay, and cumulatively you were looking at about some 9 billion Ghana cedis cumulatively. So if you have 9 billion cedis owed to depositors and you want to sanitize the system, you have options. Even if you think that there is justification, you have options. One is to resuscitate the demised, or rather ailing banks, okay, as has been done in many countries, in the US and all of that. When they see that a bank is struggling, they ensure that there's some financial injection, okay, so that business will continue to grow, because ultimately they care about their citizenry and the investment that they have made in those banks as opposed to the management of the banks. So if, for instance, Pan-African Television is a viable company, however, it's being managed wrongly, all right, Pan-African Television has been able to employ over, let's say, 200 to 300 to 400 staff, okay, and you want to exercise some political authority over the administration of the bank, you do not close down now Pan-African Television, because you would have considered the fallout from the closure being the dismissal of all these 200 people working Pan-African Television, invariably creating unemployment. So that would have been your focal point in taking that decision. What did we do? We said the banks owed 9 billion. Then we went and borrowed 21 billion. 21 billion to close down these banks. and amalgamated a few of them. Now CBG is an amalgamation of different banks, amalgamated a few of them. And there was no reasonable, logical justification for the decision that was taken by government, except that this was an attempt to control the financial lever of the economy. That's the financial sector. Let's come to media. Ohima, I nearly called you Ama. Ohima, if you look at how the media houses were treated, okay, now you just take an inventory of all the media houses that were captured under the net of a decision by Esla Owusu to ostensibly sanitize the media space. Which of them? You are looking at Radio Gold, you are looking at, I think, Power, you are looking at all the stations that were affiliated to the NDC. They were all closed down. This was captured in the first copy of the Agyapade document. Okay? Now, all these things that I'm talking about were not things which in law we describe as after the fact. These were before the fact. These were captured in the first copy of the document before all of these things materialized. And so, if Gabi or Tredako, okay, will have the effrontery to go first on X to write that anybody who thinks that a family will put together a document or will hatch an evil plan to steal from the country and still go ahead to put the head of the family on the cover of the book for the purposes of, authenticating the document, will now put it out there, then the person must have his or her head examined. This is what Gabi told us. I have also heard them say that the subsequent copies that we have, and you see, bear in mind, you see, when you have a document or you have a project and you want to execute that project, what you do is that you have a pre, then you have the event proper, and you have the post assessment. Now, the event proper will be a review of whether or not you have been able to tick all the boxes in the previous in the preview or the pre-document. All right. Now, all the things that we have seen, all the books that we have seen, at least the first two books that I have seen, are books that directly speaks, first of all, to the execution of it and the review of the execution of it. So a review essentially is to audit the specificities therein to see whether or not we have been able to execute them properly. If we were not able to execute them properly, how do we now better it going into the future? Okay? Mention specific people. So if you look at even the forward, talks about, and the forward that is in the subsequent document is the same forward that I read in the first document. So Gabi tells us that it is only a weak-minded person, or essentially a person who does not have the presence of mind to appreciate matters, will be the one to conclude. Yes, to conclude that the book there exists. Then you have the communications person for their flag bearer. There is Miracles Agyapade come out to also sort of attempt to debunk the existence of the book, but in that also admits the existence of the first copy. It's not in doubt, because he now questions the existence of the two documents that came after the first document, but does not deny the existence of the first, because you say that the subsequent ones were ones that were put together by the NDC or political opponents. You get the point, right? Now, let me also ask this, or in fact, make this point to Gabi and the people who believe that this book is not real. It's like the Bible. It's like Osadefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. His memories would have been erased, or the things that he had done would have been erased if people had not stood firm to protect what was left of him. Okay? Agyapade document is a real document. So I'm also telling Gabi that if he thinks that political opponents will have the patience, the time to compile a manifesto. When I say manifesto, you know what I mean? Because the Akufo-Addo's manifesto is the Agyapade document. Will compile an Agyapade document, take their time, write forward, okay, sign, and publish. Then the person must have his head examined, because I don't think that any political opponent will have the time to sit and compile and write a book detailing a plan which has been hatched, okay, and detailing how the hatched plan will be executed, and knowing exactly when what should be done and what is done, okay, and when and if that is done, where it will lead us to. I don't know if you understand this point I'm making. That they knew exactly what the plan is. Okay, it's like you live in your house, Ohima, and I'm able to tell you. I'm able to tell Elvis Buta, even though I don't live with you in the house, but I'm able to tell Elvis Buta that Ohima's boyfriend visits her at 9 p.m. All right, and when he visits the house, he usually eats rice and kontomire stew. I'm able to chronicle the events. Okay. As though it was premonition. Then I'm a prophet. So whoever it is that drafted this document is indeed a prophet. I want to make this point and conclude on it, that yes, we will have our heads examined, because in the final analysis, and I'm warning the NDC that when they get the opportunity to take over the reins of power, and they do not interrogate all of these matters, they will have us to deal with. Because it cannot be that the resources of the state will be stolen brazenly without recourse to the future of this country, and there won't be any consequences for it. It cannot be. It cannot be that the finance minister will have his company, okay, run the books of every borrowing that was done by his ministry, and nothing will happen to him and his bank when NDC is in power. It cannot be that they have been involved in conflict of interest in respect of procurement processes, and there won't be any consequences for it. It cannot be that we have borrowed in excess of over 700 and something billion with nothing to show for, and there will not be any consequences for it. Oima, it cannot be. Okay? That you, the president of the Republic of Ghana, put your presidency on the line and making a promise, a solemn promise as the leader of government to the good people of Ghana, that you are going to deal with Galamsey. And now and today, Galamsey is in its worst form than it used to be when you were in opposition. And there won't be any consequences for it. It cannot be, Ohima, that Chairman to me will be named as one of the persons who is directly involved in Galamsey. In Galamsey. Okay? And when you NBC as a political party gets the opportunity to be in power, there won't be any consequences for that. It cannot be. It cannot be that the president's daughter will be given a contract worth over $34 million. $34 million. Okay, in this ambulance matter, and there won't be consequences for it. It cannot be that we will deliberately run down state-owned enterprises and then turn around to want to buy them back, and there will be consequences for it. Finally, Ohima, it cannot be that with all of these scores, seas of corruption and corruption allegations and corruption related activities, okay, which have, engulfed this administration, will not be investigated and finality brought to the matter. If a mere allegation, okay, of corruption made President Mahama lose the 2016 elections, then that same mere allegation of corruption must see the back of certain people in prison, because we do not have enough resources to feed. The little that we have cannot be co-opted by greedy family members whose only aim and purpose for coming into power was to restore the lost glory of their family members. Right. We will not sit and watch unconcerned and fold our arms without visiting the fire of the law and putting the feet of this administration to the fire of legal battles. They need to in opposition. If they are going to get the opportunity to come back in the next 15 years, within those 15 years,
don't have a chance even after 4 years.
But do you think that they have messed up the economy? Well, I mean, Ghana 4 years. Sometimes we wonder. Yeah. We wonder. No, but now I think people are becoming more aware gradually. Yeah. But Ohima, what I'm saying, in conclusion, Elvis said, in conclusion, is that we as the good people of this country have a responsibility. I'm not an NDC member, and I'm not a member of Movement for Change. Okay? I'm not a member of Bernard Mona's political party. I'm a Ghanaian.
Oh, check this.
I'm a Ghanaian. And I'm saying that right now, okay, getting rid of this group of NPP people is a civic responsibility. Thank you. Getting rid. No, you see, I don't hate the NPP as a political party, but getting rid of this group of NPP people is a civic responsibility. And all of us combined, whether you belong to the proper NPP and you want to see a redefinition of your party, you need to vote out this group of NPP people. So you can, they're surrogates. But when I say group, it's encapsulates all of them. And once you get them out, then you can take control of the administration of your party to rebuild it and possibly get the opportunity to govern the good people of this country again. Until then, I think it is our responsibility to vote out. I don't know who you are going to vote, but let's vote out NPP. Simplicity. Thank you.
That is it. Kuruma Bedo, Missy Kuruma, 2024, especially 7 December. Kurunga beye the dead, Kurunga beye the dead, Kurunga beye the dead, and Kofubin Behum almost smoothness level, and Kofubin Behum almost smoothness level. I want to be with a Debbie. Saya do ba baimwa, and Timamu Fortwa Bamawa. There is a need for you to serve them properly. I want to know also say, in fact, Timamu etwa Bama. There is a need for you to serve properly. There is there is a must. And you have to serve. You have to wholeheartedly obey you more now they are sumo and many do on my son copy to me no more. nkoyese okututu scam mo na wukowi abatom. This time around there is no cheating. This time around more practices be enye adwuma. It has been seized, it has been blocked and seized forever. Block and seized forever. Into a NPP ni ye idea. Your strategy, you have millions ways. What I say, 1 million ways to what? To win this election. Master, you are a dreamer. You are a big dreamer. It won't me. What Nasan to Memuna can your power. Mind you, say vote a back. Vote here back, Bawumia vote here back. The rest of the people, they are more than you. And conform so far they are more than you people. Asante for said mobile mama mojumagu, they are more than you. Sebi abono for mobile mama mojumagu, they are more than you. Sebi environmental for mobile mama mojumagu, they are more than you. And the other tribes are my disappointed in this government, they are more than you. So for that matter, we are going to vote massively against you people. We are going to vote massively against you. Intimate nasi emobi nadao. Mentenase emo triminode. Mentenase NGG and nimobingu trim kaseo. NPP break the 8 nevi. Hey, it won't be simple. It won't be simple. And even don't try. It is possible for you to go to position. It is possible for you to be in a position for about 16 good years because of what you have done. NPP is going to position. Nothing can stop NPP from going to position because Ghanaians are annoyed. Ghanaians are what? We are fed up of this crook, cracks, and greedy bastard people. In fact, we are tired of it. We are tired. I think yɛto abama political party bi sɛ ɔmbra na ɔmmɛtu galamsey nsɛ nsase. Yɛto abama political party bi sɛ ɔmbra na ɔne ne nkurɔfoɔ mmɛkyɛ Ghana Agyapade. Na we the Timamufo, we the citizens, and we will suffer and we will bear the consequences. Upon Jenny Kodin Mako, Emma Obitina baby no Tihum free. Enyejuma. In fact, say no to NPP. And this time around, no, they are going to position. There is no breaking of 8. Under our watch, nobody is going to break this 8. You are going to break yourselves too. Yes. Me say after losing December 7th elections, no, NPP is going to be disintegrated. We nipa ponini wona wodi ya opposition ona mbaka che Bawumia se masa wonu asem o campaign wonu asem ene o bosha o she na amaya opposition ona beche na pose wo ye arrogant wo ye pride too much sisa e ba se mboa. They will put blames on themselves. They will apportion blames among themselves. Then Ghanaians will be on top of tribulation and looking at them, and they will be suffer at opposition. They will be suffering at opposition, suffer. Because some of them, they are going to be jailed. Some of them are going to be prosecuted for their bad deeds. Ofurata must be prosecuted. He must be jailed. These people, they are all crooks. They are all what? I don't know how to even describe them. They are very criminal. Nyankopɔn nhyira. Enti sanity, enti go Ewura Danso ene eti ne nka no. Nyankopɔn yɛ okese. Mesro so be subscribe to this channel. They be ameka enye boapaye. What you say? According to your analytics, ne say 90% of our viewers no munya subscribe ye enye boapaye. Ye meaning no koridi o hwa wa adwen yo so be so be wi achi no na kyese we ye free. Me kan say media na wa subscribe na so abeka yam platform no sense hanom de open no san platform with I don't think say we ko baby papa because you dedicate your life to serve this country by the truth, not lies. Ye ya adwen say ko jisika abaya beka bi twan tro bi a chiro bi a de ekoso o memo be kan kracho. We are saying the truth and we will never stop saying the truth. In fact, the truth will always stand tall and the truth will defeat lies. That is why I make a TV Yaba to enlighten the public, to educate the public and let the public know what is going on in our political enclave. The criminalities, the criminalities of our politicians, the greediness, the selfish of our politicians. nti subscribe busia fa comment tum me ready e de ma media no mega Nyankopon ye okese me ma me che bafo wo New York America Nyankopon hira me ma me papa sanso ma me we ye bi ehwem obi bia hwe me bia no I salute you Nyankopon hira makra media no mega subscribe for the latest update like you do not share na for my makra bye bye